Erik ten Hag needs to break his own golden rule at Manchester United. Man United manager Erik ten Hag would do well to rotate his side for tonight's Carabao Cup tie with Crystal Palace. Erik ten Hag has already shown during his time at Manchester United that he's not afraid to make tough decisions. His attitude towards player unrest in the camp is a prime example of this. Cristiano Ronaldo was swiftly dealt with after his infamous interview with Piers Morgan, and Jadon Sancho currently finds himself exiled from the first-team squad due to his response to the manager's criticism of him following the Arsenal defeat. Again and again. Four things spotted in Man United training as Erik ten Hag drops possible hint ahead of Palace. Manchester United are in Carabao Cup action on Tuesday evening, and they'll host Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. Manchester United have been preparing for their return to the Carabao Cup. Erik ten Hag holds fond memories of the competition after winning it on his first try last season, thanks to a 2-0 victory over Newcastle United in the final. Marcus Rashford and Casemiro scored that day, but neither were spotted in training, having featured against Burnley the day prior. Mason Mount and Harry Maguire were both in training, having missed the trip to Turf Moor, and they'll be hoping for a chance against Crystal Palace in the third round. The start of the season has bordered on depressing. A remarkable number of players being unavailable doesn't help, but United have been uninspiring, disorganized, and frail. We're used to seeing young players involved in first-team training as ten Hag looks to bridge the gap between the first team and the academy. Means that ten Hag may be keen to offer some youngsters a taste of a senior match day against Palace, and three players who will be hoping to be involved in the squad are Lewis Jackson, Ethan Wheatley, and James Nolan. Defenders. Jackson and Nolan will hope to take advantage of the Reds' recent injury problems, while frontman Wheatley will want to prove he's got the skills needed to one day lead the line for United. So, Anthony Martial was pictured in a seemingly good mood as he prepared for Tuesday night's game. With the United squad stretched and Højlund only recently recovering from injury, the Frenchman seems to be a good bet for a start against Crystal Palace. Without a goal to his name this season, the pressure is on Martial if he wants to prove he can challenge Højlund for a place in the starting 11. United fans finally got to see Sofyan Amrabat in action at Turf Moor on Saturday, with the midfielder coming off the bench late on, as the Reds saw out a 1-0 win. Casemiro could well be rested, and the Moroccan would be in contention to replace him, having been out on the training pitches at Carrington with his teammates. Another player who looks like he could be given his chance is Dan Gore. Having been named on the bench 5 times already this season, he is clearly in ten Hag's plans. The central midfielder impressed during the U.S. preseason tour and will be hopeful of an opportunity against Palace. Again and again. Jadon Sancho completely shut out at Man United as Erik ten Hag issues ruthless ultimatum. Ten Hag is refusing to budge on his stance after banishing Jadon Sancho from first-team affairs following the winger's outburst after the defeat to Arsenal. Jadon Sancho has been exiled from all first-team facilities at Manchester United, including the team dining room. Sancho has been training with United's academy players since accusing Erik ten Hag of lying over the reason for his omission from the squad for a 3-1 defeat at Arsenal on September 3rd. After ten Hag said Sancho had been left out of the squad for poor training performances, Sancho took to social media to contradict his manager in a direct challenge to his authority. Ten Hag responded by exiling Sancho from training, but it can now be revealed the 23-year-old winger has been barred from using all first-team facilities at United's training base. That includes the state-of-the-art dining facilities used by the first-team stars, with Sancho forced to eat alongside academy players following his spectacular fallout with ten Hag. Sancho is said to be unhappy. He has been forbidden from accessing all first-team areas but is refusing to apologize to ten Hag, despite having deleted the controversial social media post. United sources have admitted the situation between Sancho and ten Hag has reached an impasse, with no way back for the player until he decides to apologize to his boss. Sancho is also understood to have been late for training on several occasions, according to club sources, with the player's inflammatory social media post proving the last straw for Ten Hag. Despite the right-wing position at United being up for grabs, with Antony currently on a leave of absence while he faces allegations of physical assault and Mason Greenwood out on loan, Sancho remains out in the cold because of his unwillingness to back down in his spat with Ten Hag. A United source said, "There is an easy way to resolve this situation, which is for Jadon to say sorry to the manager. Something has to give, and it won't be the manager." Sancho last played for United in a 3-2 win over Nottingham Forest at Old Trafford on August 26, coming on as a sub for Anthony Martial after an hour. Last season, he missed nearly 4 months of United's campaign, while he dealt with physical and mental issues, with Ten Hag affording him time to deal with the challenges he faced. Sancho returned to action for United on February 1st. Last season, making a further 26 appearances and started the 2-1 FA Cup final defeat to local rivals Manchester City at Wembley. But Sancho's United career will be over unless he swallows his pride and apologizes to Ten Hag. Until then, there is no route back for the 73 million star at Old Trafford. On the other side, it confirmed that Ten Hag can do something Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp can't to help Manchester United. Man United have had a difficult start to the season, and Erik Ten Hag has got a job on his hands to turn it around. Just when you thought the bad times were gone, they come roaring back with a vengeance. Manchester United's seeming return to normalcy last season had all those reveling in their decade of decline, entering a period of mourning. But like Tyson Fury somehow getting back to his feet after being lamped by Deontay Wilder, the banter era has shambled back to life, both on the field and off it, the air of chaos. Erik Ten Hag, seemingly eradicated in his first year in charge, has returned. All the optimism and excitement that was built with a trophy win and return to Champions League football has been drained away in a few short weeks. The start of the season has bordered on depressing. A remarkable number of players being unavailable doesn't help, but United have been uninspiring, disorganized, and frail. United have played 4 teams better than them and lost them all. They've managed to beat the 3 teams worse than them, but all only by 1 goal in games they could just have easily lost against relegation contenders. It's been a struggle, but Ten Hag has already come through hardship at Old Trafford. In just his second match, United were torn asunder by Brentford in a humiliating defeat. As the Dutchman watched on helplessly, he cut a dead man walking. A listless Gary Neville on commentary was already wondering if he would even be able to turn it around. He did, of course. The next match saw a victory over Liverpool, which sparked a strong run of form. There were big hiccups along the way with ridiculous losses to fierce rivals, but gradually, performances continued to improve. To arrest the dire form, Ten Hag had to enforce change. Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay were dropped. The approach of passing it out of the back with David De Gea in goal clearly wasn't going to work, so a more direct style was implemented. It worked. These players now are probably not suited to the way he wants to play, but he's found a way to win games. With this group of players, now why would you change and go back to something that didn't really work at the start of the season? United legend Paul Scholes told Premier League TV at the time. He's found a way of playing football on the counterattack with this group of players. Why change that? He added, "We talk about philosophies all the time, don't we? These managers are stubborn. Michael Arteta will be stubborn. Pep Guardiola will be stubborn. Jurgen Klopp will be stubborn. But this man, you have to give him credit because he's gone away, really, from what he wants to do. Being humble enough to accept things aren't working, and smart enough to come up with a solution are great traits, and it's what Ten Hag needs now. With so many players out, it's almost impossible for the team to get settled and learn the new way he wants to play following the arrival of Andre Onana, so a return to basics could help the team. Ten Hag has shown he can get United out of trouble once, and he needs to do it again.